Hi everyone, it's me, Honey, the Unicorn Goddess, coming to you today from my channel, Spoken Openly, bringing you some more information for your healing, empowerment, growth, expansion, and the evolution of your consciousness. Today, I'm going to talk to y'all about the pineal gland. It is a very in-depth subject. The pineal gland has been known about since ancient times, all the way back to ancient Sumeria. I've made myself a lot of notes down here because it's a lot of information. So I'm going to try to cover everything, but I'm telling y'all right now that it's very deep and it goes into a lot of different tangents. And I'm trying to keep this video to a certain amount. So I might mention a lot of different things that I'll have to elaborate on in later videos. I'm just trying to show you the connection in all things, regardless of culture, religion. A lot of things are connected that people might not think are connected. And the pineal gland is one of those common threads that runs through them all. The pineal gland is a gland in your brain. It's also known as your third eye. It is a very enigmatic appendage. And it's something that I really love. It's a subject that I really love because it's the seat of your divinity. It's the seat of your soul. It's your connection to source. It's like a receiver where you can receive frequencies. I'll talk about that more in a minute. And it's also related to the unicorn and the unicorn horn. And you know I have a very special affinity for unicorns. I'm the unicorn goddess. So I'm really going to enjoy bringing this information to y'all today. And I hope that I can allow divinity to flow through me and be an instrument of the Most High Consciousness and share this information in a way that you'll be able to receive no matter your cultural or ethnic or spiritual or religious background. All right, so I'm about to get started. First, all the way back in ancient Sumeria, there was these deities called the Anunnaki. Sometimes they're shown as eagle-headed, men-like creatures with wings, or men with wings, or reptilian-looking creatures. Anunnaki means from heaven to earth. They came from heaven to earth. And according to the Enuma Elish and some other Sumerian writings, these beings came down and took the primitive humanoid of that time and created hybrids by taking their more advanced DNA, mixing it with the DNA of the humanoid primitive beings here, tweaking the DNA, genetically engineering, and creating something more close to the modern humans of today. And in the carvings and artwork of that time, it shows these deities messing with are working on a double helix symbol, which is very similar to DNA, and they called it the Tree of Life. And in one hand, they have a pine cone looking object, and they're placing it into or on top of the Tree of Life. That is a representation of the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a very enigmatic appendage. It lies dormant in much of humanity. However, it is the connection to the divinity that is the birthright of every human being once they awaken to it and tap into it and activate it. It can lie dormant because of ignorance, or it can lie dormant because of toxins and chemicals, which I'll get to later. But for right now, I just want to stress that it is the seat of your divinity. It is your connection to your supernatural powers. It is your seat of your soul. It is a receiver that you can receive different frequencies or messages from God Most High from the quantum field, from the unified field, from the field of all possibilities. Even such people as Nikola Tesla spoke about this when he said that there's a great source of knowledge and he can tap into it and receive information. And some of his greatest inventions, he said that that's how they came to him, that he tapped into this great source and he received the information. Now, some ancient cultures call that the Akashic records, this source of all information. That's another story that we can discuss in another video in the future, which is like the great source, the field of all information, which is tapped into using your third eye, your pineal gland. Now, moving on, in the Anunnaki pantheon, they had gods known as Enki, Enlil, Marduk, Ishtar, and some other gods. But then as you move forward, as these beings spread out across the land, not only did some of the stories from the Enuma Elish and other writings from ancient Sumeria become the stories that a lot of the Bible is based on, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh is where Noah's flood came from, and a lot of stories in the ancient Sumerian texts are also mirrored in the Bible. But these same deities, some of them went to Egypt. Marduk from ancient Sumeria became Ra in Egypt. Ishtar became Hathor or Sekhmet, who are two aspects of the same deity. In ancient Egypt, the third eye was also a very important symbol. The third eye was connected to magic, divinity, power, and healing. The third eye was associated with a symbol known as the Eye of Horus. And the Eye of Horus was also called the Wajet, because in the myths of that time, or the ancient writings, Horus had lost an eye, and then when he got his eye back, he was considered Wajet, or whole. It was also associated with protection from evil, and it was associated with royalty and royal power. The symbol for the third eye, the Eye of Horus, also corresponds to the parts of your brain immediately close to your actual pineal gland. If you took a cross section of your brain and you laid the Eye of Horus symbol over it, it would correspond to and perfectly match up to many of the physical structures right around your third eye. So it's safe to say that the ancient Egyptians very much knew the third eye and its uses in your pineal gland and the connection to your divinity. Then you can go to another culture in yoga traditions. In yoga traditions, the third eye is called your Anja Chakra. And usually it's represented or depicted as a symbol right here. It's connected to your sixth chakra. It is considered the symbol for enlightenment. Again, your connection to your divinity, to your soul. It is the chakra that your kundalini rises up into. And your kundalini is represented as two coiled snakes that rise up from your sacral chakra. And there it is again, just like in Anunnaki, the central staff, the double helix, and then the pine cone. There it is again. When your kundalini rises up into your third eye, then you're considered enlightened. You've transcended your physical humanity and become divine. Also, the Hindu god Shiva, who is one of the three aspects of their most divine being, is shown with the third eye. in his forehead, an actual depiction of a physical eye. In the Abrahamic traditions, there is a story about Jacob, who was transformed and renamed Israel as a result of this story. Jacob was a trickster. He was a very carnal man, and he wrestled with God at this place called Pineal. Yes, Pineal. And he had a vision, and he saw a stairway ascending to heaven with angels coming up and down the stairway. And he wrestled with an angel of God, with the angel of God, and he wanted to be blessed, and he didn't want to let the angel go until it blessed him. So his hip, the angel touched his hip, and his hip was dislocated. And what is your hip connected to? Your sacral bone. See the parallel here? And his hip was disconnected as he wrestled with God. Then he was transformed. His divinity was realized, and he was renamed Israel. Do you see the parallels? In some secret societies, the spine is known as Jacob's ladder, and the pineal gland is the mercy seat, the holy seat, the seat of God. And you have to ascend from your sacrum, from your sacred bone, up Jacob's ladder, ascend your energy up to your third eye. Then also, scientifically, your pineal gland is your third eye. Some cultures say, put something here, they say your third eye is here, but in actuality, your third eye is back here. Your pineal gland, it's inside your brain, but a little bit more towards the back of your brain. And it's shaped very similar to your two physical eyes. And it has rods and cones in it, like your two physical eyes. And some people say that they've seen it, like I guess in anatomy or something, and that it even has something similar to an eyelid. It's a pine cone shaped gland. That's why it's called the pineal gland, and it's associated with pine cones. And in lots of secret societies, there's depictions of pine cones. Even in the caduceus, which is the two serpents twined around the staff, at the top there's a pine cone, which represents your pineal gland. Even if you go to the Vatican, which we know has a lot of relics and ancient books and information from other cultures and ancient societies hidden in its catacombs and libraries. At the Vatican, there is a huge fountain of a pine cone in the middle of one of their courtyards. And that shows that even the Vatican understands the significance of the pine cone. They may hide a lot of information from the public, but they know the significance of it. Rest assured, they know it's the seat of your power, and you need to know too. I could go into a lot of detail about the Vatican, about what they really believe, about what they really worship, where many of their rituals and holidays come from, how they deceive the masses. I could go into a whole lot of information, but that would be a whole other video. That would be a very long video. Maybe I'll go into it in the future, but right now I'm just trying to show you the connection and the understanding of the pineal gland through all these ancient civilizations. Do you think that it's a coincidence that they have so many similarities? I don't think so. Do you think that it's a coincidence that the Vatican and Christianity and some preachers try to say that your pineal gland or your third eye is evil, but then the Vatican has a huge pine cone representing the third eye in the middle of their courtyard? I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that it's a possibility that at least at the higher levels, they know the significance and the power that we all hold. They know the connection to our divinity. But just like they wouldn't let people read Bibles or ancient texts in the past, they want to keep the power for themselves. That's my personal opinion. Now, in another part of the Bible, in the New Testament, where Yeshua, Jesus, is talking himself, he says in Matthew, I believe, I want to say Matthew 6, he's giving a long speech, and he talks about how you shouldn't pray to impress other people, and he gives the Lord's Prayer of like the right way to pray, and he talks about forgiveness and a lot of other things, and he talks about how you can't serve two masters and a lot of other things. Somewhere around the 20th verse, he says, if your eye be singular, your third eye, if your eye be singular, then your whole body will be full of light. But if the light within you is darkness, then what a terrible darkness it is. And what he's saying is, if your eye is attuned and connected to the frequency of the Most High, then your whole body will be full of light. You will be healthy and you will be good. But if you give yourself over to darkness and the light within you is actually darkness, then what a terrible darkness that you will be in. It's my belief that the reason he says it like this is because the pineal gland itself, just like any other part of you, the pineal gland is a connection to your divinity, but it is a receiver for different frequencies, and you can choose good or you can choose evil. And if you choose good, and your whole body is full of light and good, but if you choose evil, then you are cut off from your divinity and you're in darkness and you're not filled with light. The pineal gland is filled with crystals. Some say there's a diamond, even a small diamond in your pineal gland. Anyone who understands electronics and broadcast technology and radio receivers and things like that know that there's a diamond or a crystal or a quartz crystal in cell phones, radios, and other electronics. And as you turn this crystal with the tuner, that's how you pick up different frequencies. You tune the tuner, and that's how you pick up different channels. You receive different frequencies based on how you tune this crystal. So it's like God is a radio tower, always transmitting love and light and goodness and well-being, and speaking to us, and we can attune ourselves to that. We can also be attuned to other things. We can pick up different signals from the quantum field, or through pain or trauma or evil things happening to us, or maybe we believe the wrong thing. That's like being tuned to a different frequency, or having static between us where we can't maybe pick up the broadcast that clearly, and we could be shutting ourselves off, or we could be shut off due to chemicals, or due to even certain substance abuse that might dampen the connection, or different things that lower our vibration. If we're always in a very sad state, or anger, fear, hostility, these are lower vibrations, and you can only accept and receive things on a similar vibration to you. So even though you're never separated from divinity, sometimes when you're on a lower vibration, it's harder for you to access your divinity, or to receive it, or to believe in it. See how many parallels through every culture that I've spoke about so far? You can see the many similarities and parallels in what they believe. They might describe it differently, but it seems to me that they're describing the same subject, the same phenomena, the same gland or appendage or part of your body, the connection to your divinity, the seat of your soul. Furthermore, your pineal gland creates different chemicals that affect your body in different ways. You could think of your pineal gland almost as the mortar and pestle that you make magic substances with. It creates serotonin, which regulates your moods, and melatonin, which regulates your sleep. But then if you tweak it through meditation and energy practices and breathing practices and different things, it can create benzodiazepine, which is similar to Valium, which works to turn off your fear and your anxiety. And it can create DMT, which is also created in your lungs when you sleep. Yes, DMT that some people take, like ayahuasca and other substances, to go on spiritual journeys or trips with. Your pineal gland in your brain can create it and secrete it for you to have mystical experiences. Some call DMT the God chemical or the spiritual chemical. And it's been shown that when people have spiritual experiences, their brain, their pineal gland has secreted this chemical. Also, your pineal gland creates a field, an energy field. Many parts of your body and your whole body create different energetic fields, whether bioelectric fields, electromagnetic fields, torus fields or torsion fields, many other fields. Your heart itself, it makes a huge field. It's one of the strongest field generators in your body. Your heart can generate a field that's up to 9 meters or more all around you. And some people think that your spirit is in your body, but wise people know that actually the field generates physical matter, not that the matter generates the field. So I propose to you that your body is in your spirit. That's what I think. Your body is actually in your spirit. Now, when your pineal gland is activated and you're in touch with your divinity, not only can you receive information from source, from God, from the quantum field, you can also create. You can access many things in your mind's eye: the past, the present, the future, remote viewing. You can visualize the future that you want in order to manifest it. You see, it's no coincidence that your mouth is between your heart and your pineal gland, because everything is created through vibration. Everything. Nothing is really solid. Everything, all matter, is light vibrating at different frequencies. And light is actually a byproduct of vibration. That's why it said the Most High spoke and said, "Let there be light." And then light came. Light is a byproduct of vibration, which that's a whole nother video. But I just want you to understand that when you see it in your third eye, when you visualize it in your mind's eye, and you feel it in your heart, you feel the feeling of it, and you speak it from your mouth, you can create it. You are creating it. That's why it's important not to speak in anger, not to let your fears speak. Although we're all fallible and we're human, and sometimes it happens. But that's why it's important to train yourself, because it's a lot of power that you're generating. And when your heart is open and connected to your third eye, and you speak in love, and you're speaking out vibration, and you're creating something. Thoughts are things. Just because you can't see it, thoughts are things. And your pineal gland creates an energy field called a torsion field. Your heart has a torsion field. Your whole body has a huge torsion field. And in electromagnetic fields, opposites attract, like with two magnets, where you put the north and the south pole together, they come together. You put two north poles together, they repel each other. But in torsion fields, like attracts like. So the vibration that you're putting out is what you're also going to receive. There is no in here, out there. The world is a mirror to you. So whatever you're getting, you need to think about what you're putting out. Whatever you're seeing in the reflection, you need to think about what you are sending out, what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're visualizing, what are your dominant thoughts. Because you are a very powerful creator. And if you don't believe in this type of thing, and you're kind of like, that doesn't make sense, I want you to Google or look up on the internet or somewhere, torus field communication. It's such a real phenomena that governing agencies of America have put a lot of research into something called torus field communications. And they have learned that by using different frequencies, just very similar to how radio waves or telephone communication, microwaves and stuff work, by using different frequencies, they can use torus fields to communicate throughout the entire universe, the entire known creation. Instantaneous communication. It's very similar to quantum entanglement, which is a whole nother video. See how I told y'all that several things that I would mention in this video could be videos unto themselves, and I can't really go into a huge amount of explanation because this video would be super long. But I'm mentioning these things because they're all connected, and I want y'all to understand. I know it sounds like magic, but a lot of magic is not understood or misunderstood science. Science sounds like magic to people that don't have the knowledge or the understanding to comprehend the phenomena or how it happens. Make no mistake that the elites, those in power, like I mentioned, the Vatican, the Pope, but others in power, know this. Know that your pineal gland is very powerful connection to your divinity, into unseen realms and other dimensions. There is chemicals put into water, maybe some food sprayed into the air, Aluminum and fluoride are a good example. Fluoride dumbs you down. It's a toxin. It's put into water, into toothpaste, into different things, and it makes people more docile. But another property of fluoride is that it carries aluminum across the blood-brain barrier at an exponential rate to what it could pass by itself. And a lot of that aluminum comes to rest in your pineal gland, and it calcifies the pineal gland. And so it almost cuts you off from accessing your divinity. So if the average person doesn't know better, and they're taking in these chemicals, and their pineal gland is calcified, then they don't have access to their divinity. But these elites and other people do have access to their divinity. Then it's almost like you're becoming their slave, because they can create, but you can't. So it's very important to chelate and cleanse yourself of these toxic chemicals so you can be connected to your divinity. All right, y'all. Now we've come to my favorite part of the video, and I had to go get my unicorn hat because I am the unicorn goddess. And now we're going to talk about how the pineal gland is related to the horn of the unicorn. So you could call it the unicorn point. Unicorns have been connected to magic and power and purity and the divine all throughout history. Unicorns are mentioned in many ancient civilizations. Even in the Bible, in Psalms, it says, "Anoint my horn like the horn of the unicorn." See, another reference to the unicorn and the third eye. Anyhow, the unicorn's horn is sometimes said to grow directly from their pineal gland, from their third eye. And it's associated with our telepathic abilities, or their telepathic and magical abilities, the cone of power, the energy field, the antenna to transmit and receive magic, and purity and healing and magical power in general. So, this is my favorite part. Y'all like my unicorn hat? This is my favorite part of the video because I get to be a unicorn, the unicorn goddess. So, all right, y'all. I hope y'all have enjoyed my video about the pineal gland, unicorns, who I have an affinity to, magic, and your divine birthright. And the magic, the power, the divinity that is within you. I encourage you to do your own research. I encourage you to dig deeper, because there's a lot more that could be said about the pineal gland and all the subjects that I spoke about in relation to the pineal gland and to your inner divinity and the seat of your soul and your magic. One thing I want to say before I leave is how I was talking about how the pineal gland has a crystal in it, and it has tuners. You can tune it to different frequencies, very similar to a radio dial. I also want you to think about how as a human, there's a very small spectrum of light and sound and information that we can actually receive with our 5 senses, and how your vibration, how I was talking about torus fields and like attracts like, your vibration and the vibration that you're on, the frequency that you're on, attracts to you other things that are on that frequency, which I said, but I want you to think of it almost like a video game, how there's different levels to a video game. And when you're on level 1, you could be in the same room of the video game, but maybe there's certain treasures you can't access, or a secret door you can't open. There's certain people you can't talk to, or certain things that you're not aware of, or prizes or goals, or certain things in the video game that you cannot access when you're on the lower level. But as you raise your level, similar to raising your vibration, then the things that you once had access to, they're now obsolete. You could be on the same building or platform of that game, but now you can access totally higher dimensions of that same room or that same spot in the game. There might be a new animal or a new weapon or a new prize or a healing property or a person that you can now talk to and get information from. It's very similar. Us in this 3D reality being on different vibrations, being at different frequencies. Like how you can walk into a room full of people and you'll notice certain people, or when you're really positive and you need something to happen, you can manifest it quicker. It's very similar to you being tuned to a certain frequency, and therefore your pineal gland being able to access certain information in certain levels and certain dimensions that those on lower frequencies cannot comprehend. Like, really, there are levels to this ish, as they say. There are levels. And so the unicorn is a great representation of that divinity and of that access. The unicorn horn is a great representation of your divine ability and your divine power. Do you want to be a regular horse? Or do you want to be a unicorn? I don't know about y'all, but I'm a unicorn. I'm the unicorn goddess, in fact. So this is Honey, spoken openly. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, this discussion about the pineal gland. I hope it's been of service to you. I hope and pray that I've been an instrument of the Most High today, and that I have allowed for the transmission of information and knowledge and wisdom to help you to open your eyes, to open your third eye, to give you a deeper understanding and a clarity, to make new connections in your brain, to make your brain fire in new ways, to help you have epiphanies. So here's to your growth, your happiness, your health, your expansion, your wholeness, your empowerment, and the evolution of your consciousness. If you like this, I hope you'll like down below and subscribe and share with all your friends.